Hello, this is Greg Myers with an episode of The Visible Layer. Today I would like to take a few minutes and walk you through the SAP BusinessObjects Quick Sizer. That is a relatively new addition to the BI4 release, and it is meant to give you a guide to sizing your business objects environment before you go ahead and build it out. Before I get started, I just wanted to talk very briefly about the output of what this Quick Sizer is going to do. You're going to get two numbers out of the end. You're going to get a SAPS number and an amount of memory. So the SAPS, if you're not familiar with that, is a measurement of computing capacity, sort of like IOPS on the old mainframes. And most vendors have a SAPS rating for hardware that they're going to sell you because SAP has been requiring this for their the rest of the business suite for over 10 years. This is the first time the SAPS rating is going to apply to business objects. So once you get the number, then you can go to your preferred hardware vendor and start shopping, and they should know what a SAPS rating is. So let's go ahead and go over to the Quick Sizer, which is a part of the service marketplace. Okay, if you don't have the single sign-on, it's going to prompt you for log-on. I'm using my certificate, and of course it asked me a couple of times. That's okay. That's why I use a certificate. Alright, and the first place you're going to land is in this tiny little box. Make sure you're using a valid customer number, and you're going to give it a project name. Alright, and once you give it a name that's meaningful, go ahead and create your project. Okay, so now you're going to pop into this area. The first thing you really want to do is pick your components that you're going to be sizing. So as you can see, all of the SAP Business Suite things are available in here. CRM, ERP, all that fun stuff. There's HANA here. What we really care about here for this argument demonstration today is the Business Objects portfolio, and then we'll plus out the business intelligence down here one more time. And I will click, see when it has the little box, the little diamond here, this is a component that you can add into the sizer. I suppose you could do more than one, but at a time, I'm not sure why you would want to, but I think you can. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, and it's going to add it to my project. Okay. Now, a couple of things that you want to think about. How many work days are there in your average year? And they just kind of give you an estimate here, 220. That, on average, person works about that many with their vacations or sick time and holidays and whatnot. If you want to make it more, try to just say that it's going to be a more highly available system. You can just say there are no down days, and that's fine. And then you want to kind of set the bounds of your average workday, 9 to 5. We'll say it's a little bit longer. Some of these global distributions now, days tend to be a little bit longer. All right. Now, down here, this is what the sizer is going to use to try to determine the amount of throughput that you're going to need hardware-wise. So these are the key products that are part of the BI4 suite. And notice they're not all here. There are different calculations for like Explorer, and mobile is not on here. This is just the main stuff. So there's analysis for OLAP. There's Crystal 2011, which is the newer, and Crystal Enterprise, which is the older. There's your dashboards, which is formerly known as Excelsius, and then there's your web intelligence. So for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to say we have analysis for OLAP, the newer Crystal 2011, dashboards, and Webby. We're not going to use the older Crystal. Okay. Now, these first three blocks, this info, business, and expert, these are the number of users that you're going to have to categorize in your business. So in information, that's like an information worker. That's just someone who's going to go in and consume a report, maybe refresh a report. They're not really going to do anything with it. A business user is going to have a little more activity. This might be like an analyst or someone who's doing a bit more refreshing, maybe editing things on their own a little bit. So, business user is a higher use capacity-wise than an information worker. And then you have your experts. These, you know who these guys are. There's your power users, the ones that generate about 80% of the load on your system. So these are your expert power users that you need to count for each of these products. So analysis addition for OLAP, let's say, for information users, there really aren't that many because this is an analyst tool. So in this one, I'm going to leave that blank. It just, again, demonstration. For business users, I'm going to say there's 300 of them, and my expert users, there's 20. Now, this small, medium, and large. So this is the number of reports that you're going to have in this percentage. So out of my number of reports, I want to think, how many of these are small, medium, and large. So analysis for OLAP, again, it's against cubes. It tends to be kind of big, so small is really not going to be, there really aren't many small things. So let's just say that's 5%. Medium is going to be 55, and that brings us to 60, so the large are going to be 40. You want a total 100% at the end there. All right, for Crystal, as far as users, then there may be a lot more informational users, and let's say this is a pretty large, so this might be 1,000 users. Business users might be another 1,000, and my expert users might just be like a team of developers, and my crack users, so that's maybe just 100. Small reports, percent of my reports, smaller might be like 60%, 20, and 20. Again, this is all analysis you need to take your time and be very careful with. I'm flying through this just for the sake of showing you how this thing works. Okay, dashboards, informational users is going to be a lot. So let's say there's 500 executives that use these dashboards a lot. Business users, there's even more. Let's say there's 3,000 of those. My expert users are about 500. Small is going to be more of a majority. Let's say 80, 15, and 5. How's that? And then web intelligence is probably going to be one of my larger ones. Let's say there's 2,000 information, another 1,000 business users, and I have 250 experts. Small are going to be 20. Medium are going to be, let's take a guess, probably 50, that's 70, and 30. Okay. So now you can put in some text here to kind of justify, because you can save these and come back to them later. You can print them, modify them up later on. There's a lot of other stuff you can do in here that I'm not going to talk about today, but be as detailed or not as you want. And then once you've got this core amount in here, then you want to try and calculate the result. So what this is going to do then is give us those two numbers that we talked about in the end. Oop. There it goes. Okay, so for my solution BI that we just sized, the CPU category is an XXXL. Jamie Oswald would be pleased. And then you get your two numbers. Here's your SAP's rating, your SAP's number, total. So we need 284.5. And our total memory in megabytes, we need 179.2 megabytes of memory. So this is the computing capacity that you're going to need to sustain operations at that level that we just sized. That does not account for growth. That is merely to say this is what you need to run that many users through that many products, this many hours of the day, that many days of the year. So again, the quality of what you get out of this is the time and effort you put into that analysis of the breakdown of products and usage. It's not. It can only be as good as what you make it. This is the Quick Sizer, so it's not it's not 100% accurate, but this is a pretty good ballpark, and it's a lot better than most guesses probably that you'll have. So then you can take this result and go to your hardware vendor and say, all right, well, let's talk about the SAPs that I need and the memory that I need, and how does that look? And that's when you need to start deciding, how many servers is that you're going to split that across. Is it 1? Is it 10? What platform is that going to be on? Maybe it's just one big Linux box, because I can put all that memory on one box or two boxes. And this is where your budget part comes in, where you really have to think about how much money you have to spend and how much the licenses for business objects are going to cost you on that many boxes. So this can really help you plan that. So I hope you found this demonstration useful on how to use the Quick Sizer in the SAP Service Marketplace. Once again, for the Visible Layer, this is Greg Myers. Thanks a lot.
This podcast is hosted and sponsored by EV Technologies. Visit us on the net at SaveTheCMS.com.
D-Slayer!